Greetings and welcome once again to Roman of the Empire. I am your dying host, Roman, and this week we are talking about the sci-fi classic Forbidden Planet from 1956. This is one of my favorite classic sci-fi films. We were talking about a little bit in the green room before the show. There's really nothing about this movie with one tiny thing, which is even, it's not I don't like it, it's a little wonky. Hello, Sammy. It's a remake of Shakespeare, so it's damn near perfect in execution and really everything about the film. I love the wild sexual harassment of the one woman in the film. That's pretty solid. You don't see that all the time, certainly in modern filmmaking. So I'm heavily approving of that. But before we get rolling into the show this week, let's do our intros around the horn. He is my partner on this channel. He is my wingman. He once stopped me from carpet bombing my own home because he knew I would die and he'd have to take over the show permanently. He is Shield Wall of Dragons. Welcome back, my friend. How are you?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Yeah, I stopped Roman from carpet bombing his house so he didn't have to redo all that concrete.
It's so hot.
He's been pouring for like the last 100 years.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, but this is a great movie. I hadn't seen it in probably 20 years or something because it used to be on TV quite a bit. And then I realized when I saw it, I have never actually seen the whole thing. Like, I maybe missed the beginning or the end or something, or somewhere in the middle. I'd always caught like bits and pieces of it and kind of strung it together in my head. So it was nice to see it. I saw the HD version. Anyways, it's a great movie, and it still holds up for the most part.
Right on. Yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed watching it again, and staying awake through it was the best part because drinking does not mix well with sci-fi Shakespeare.
Yeah, the biggest thing about this movie is it sets the standard for so many other tropes and other things springboard off of it.
Oh yeah, you get some. The Star Trek vibes are heavy and a half.
Huge.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, sending out my my Twitter post because I've been running around like a maniac. He is the meme master of the interweb, using his powers for good instead of evil. He is Jacob Ironside. Welcome back, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here. And if I were mean, I would be.
Jacob, you are under attack by the raccoons now. Thank you for freezing on that, though. That's fantastic. She will tell you if this is the way. Books, games, or movies. She is armored up and ready to fight. She is unexpectedly here this week. Untamed Mando. Welcome, Mando. I'm so happy you are here.
I'm glad I made it too. So yeah, I'm supposed to be. I have no idea. I was wondering the same thing. Apparently I have been coerced / not coerced because I'm legally not obligated to do anything my friend suggests, even though. Yes, I'm coaching Little League Soccer, and we haven't gotten the practice schedule down yet. Oh.
So, guys, when Mando coaches soccer, the balls are made of fire.
Yes.
I think that's why
This is the
parents
way.
are so hesitant to reach back out to me because they're like, wait a second.
She also had
what
to
did you say?
specify that it was, the kids' league, because if it was just regular soccer, it'd be the prison league soccer.
It would be. It would be.
And to help the children learn to run fast, she has a lion chase them.
You can dodge a flaming soccer ball. You can anyway.
I was telling the parents that we're working on cardio and endurance for 5-year-olds.
All right. Well, that's good. Don't go to jail. His beard is at least 2,000 centuries old and boosts his IQ by 500 points. He is Beard of Liberty! Welcome back, my friend. Always good to see you when you are not hunting your neighbors, allegedly. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. And yes, that actually, I didn't actually grow this. This just appeared one day and took over my personality. Turns out, when I was smooth-faced, I hated freedom. It's weird, I know. Looking forward to getting into this. This is a first watch for me, unsurprising. But yes, as you were saying, there's definitely a lot of you get a lot of a feel for a lot of old classic sci-fi coming from this, and it carried on because there's even this thing. I'll be real quick right here, where they did the Futurama spoof of the cover art with Bender carrying Leela.
Classic imagery.
I actually just bought a Forbidden Planet poster because I was so inspired by this. I couldn't help myself.
Really? Sammy, had you never seen it before?
I was excited this first watch, and I mean I've seen things of it, but and I've seen that poster for like a million years, but after like finally watching it, I was like, yeah, I'm getting this poster. It's going home.
Well, this movie is almost 60 years old.
At least.
Think about that. It's crazy. 1956, 2024.
What's up? It was great.
Yeah. Got the beard guy. Okay. He is the man who knows all the things about all the things. He is the unbearable 73 that thought you shouldn't be. God damn it, I didn't read this beforehand.
I'll do this one for you.
Matt and motherfucking lacking all the fucking fuck it. What? Shit.
Fuck. The tenants are lacking in all the gifts.
Tourette's syndrome has taken over.
Well, I used to be the guy who knows all the things, but after watching 4 episodes of Rings of Prime in less than 2 weeks, my entire frontal cortex in my brain is now made of sludge like Sauron. It oozed out of my ears and seeped through the floor, and it's lurking beneath my apartment eating rats. So all the things I know are now being turned into rat monsters or something. Because that apparently is what Amazon has given us. And hopefully this film will purge that at least for a
little while.
Yeah.
Lord. Musician, pop culture aficionado, YouTube prostitute, man of the people. He is Sammy Threepeat. Welcome back, Sammy. You're looking very alert and awake this week, which is exciting, and we're happy to have you.
I'm glad. Sorry I was a little late. I was beating the clock to get here, but
thank God it was just the clock. I didn't know where that was going.
Oh yeah.
We could
Mando just looks mildly annoyed by the comment and now a little bit afraid. So it's which is kind of what we go for every week on this show, folks. If we can scare Mando a little bit, that's kind of what we're going for.
But then I burn everything down. So.
Yeah, no, I was like, you don't want to frighten the arsonist. Burn it down, babe. Burn it all down.
I'm going to burn this whole place to the ground.
The fire
He is the red-headed giant in the land of the rising sun. He is our guest this week. Fantastic artist, friend of the show, the Jinja Ninja, James Harris. Welcome back, my friend. It's been a long time. I'm so happy that you are able to make it back for this week.
I'm so happy that you invited me back. I missed you guys. Missed you so much. It's a pleasure always to be on here. And what an amazing movie. I like first time watcher here as well. And it was like a fresh a breath of fresh air.
Wow.
It felt like I don't know. I'm a huge Wizard of Oz fan, and the old style look and feel and color and everything. So yeah, just going here and seeing this, it just felt like the good old days, I guess you could say, the good old days of cinema. And so it was a good treat to have. Thanks to you, of course.
Well, this was the first time view for you,
yes.
For Beard, for Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
Mando?
I'm going to say yes, because when I saw it, I didn't know that I had seen it, if that makes sense. I was watching something when I was a kid on the TV, didn't know really what I was watching.
Yeah.
Okay, no, well, quite honestly, like when I watched The Thing from Another Planet, the 1952 film, I saw it in completion over a series of like 5 different times until I finally got to sit down and watch it. So yeah, I get it. So let's say hello to our chat this evening. We have Stephen Ransom, our good friend. It's true. Yes, Beard is just, he's amazing. Ducka. I'm sweating so much. Mr. Grant Gregory, welcome to the show. Ducka. Frank Yately, welcome. I'm glad you're not asleep, my friend. Ducka. And that is it for the chat thus far. It is a bit of an older film, so I mean, maybe it freaked people out. I don't know. God himself doesn't know, my friends. So we're gonna hop on into this thing, and if anybody, who are we missing? Is it just Joker? It is just Joker. So if anybody has seen Joker,
watched Rings of Prime and just died. He's gone.
Let him know Mom's worried, and to please call home. So let's dive on into this thing.
So guys, I want to reveal something. I saw this movie the first time when I was, I don't know, 8, 9, somewhere around there, and I hated it the first time I watched it. Okay, something about Robbie the robot, like I was like, the movie looks so good, but the robot looks like
that fucking robot.
Yeah. Well, but as I grew to appreciate older style and even things like that, then the movie became like, by the time I was 15, it was one of my favorite movies, you know. But something when I was a little kid, I wanted robots to look like Japanese anime robots all the time, you know, the thing, you know, like super sleek missiles firing out of all the joints and everything, you know. And Robbie the robot was not that. But
well, that is very true. Robbie the robot is not that. He is this big, bulky motherfucker. Voiced by Marvin Miller, for those of you who are curious. So,
and by the by, this movie, even though it's almost 60 years old, as Roman pointed out, is particularly relevant today because it's about the dangers of artificial intelligence, among other things.
That's actually an excellent point, Matt. I didn't even consider that.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at this movie. Without this movie, Forbidden Planet, you don't get Star Trek, which you're going to see a lot of heavy pull from this movie if you're a Star Trek fan. Star Wars, Alien. I mean, basically your entire modern sci-fi. Without this movie, you don't get that. I don't know what you have, but it's not what you have today. Well, let's say not today. That's not what you had 20 years ago.
And this came out before Starship Troopers, which is also one of the seminal hard science books that a lot of other things are based off of. But Steven's saying Lost in Space, Space 1999.
Space 1999. Yeah. Oh no, well, Lost in Space is like a direct. They use the same fucking robot.
Danger. Danger.
And they're in a saucer ship too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we said
introducing Robbie the robot, which I think is funny.
I said the 1950s is in a lot of ways the greatest era of American science fiction.
Right. Yeah. You know, post-war, everyone. I don't know. If you look at some of the pulp stories, like the Flash Gordon kind of stuff, it all kind of builds on each other.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying it peaked in the 1950s.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
All these awesome American, like it became its own genre of like American sci-fi. You know.
So photographed in Eastman color consultant. We're gonna pause here in the credits, which I seldom do. The color in this movie is so vibrant and spectacular. Roman, it leaps out of your fucking screen.
Did you use my version for this?
I did. I didn't use your 4K because that kept fucking hanging up.
Yeah.
So I had to go find the other one.
I have the restored, like a clean film, like when they're not just when they put it on a Blu-ray, but they actually cleaned the film and corrected it.
Oh yeah, it looked so good. It was just fucking
the version I watched was I was like, I think it probably looked better than when it was first shown in a theater.
Yeah,
probably.
I would argue. I mean, it was just, it's so clean, like I said, and just the colors just are like.
But that's the other thing about those color effects from like the 50s, or the late 40s. Look at Wizard of Oz, how bright and vibrant it all was.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not that sepia shit, which is all you get out of modern
Look,
fucking films.
That's an interesting.
So I want to talk about this for
sorry.
1 second as well. It says electronic tonalities by Lewis and Baby Baron. So it's funny. So that's all the music that's in it, and the Musicians Guild, the union, was pissed because they weren't members, but that's all that they use in this movie is this kind of weird whoa,
Yeah.
Oh,
shit in the
yeah.
background.
Yep.
It helps so much too.
Oh, it just adds,
Well-
it adds so much atmosphere. Costumes. Fuck, we can even talk about costumes. It's Walter Plunkett, which is a stupid name,
Yeah.
but whatever. The costumes in this, especially the young lady, were
Yeah.
fantastic. I like that the crew changes uniforms. They have their
Oh,
standard
yeah.
onboard
Based
ship, and
on
then they
their
have
duty,
like going
right.
off. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very. I mean, that's very realistic.
I when we get to it, I do want to talk about that ship specifically.
Yeah, well, we're going to get into it very soon, but oh my God, I just loved so much stuff on this ship. First of all, they made a flying saucer, which I thought was fucking great, just on its own. And you have the internals of the navigation system of the ship. So I like that transition from the flying saucer outside to the model of the ship and kind of what axis it's on when it's making,
It's actually
whatever
pretty clever
maneuvers.
the way that they showed that, created that navigation system where everything else would rotate around that model of the ship. That way they could explain away not having any windows and not having a quote unquote front and rear and everything. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like the way it's designed is almost like a sub, and it's treated very much like a naval vessel. Everybody, I mean, the ranks, they have a chief, which made me happy, working in engineering. But that's where you see a lot of the Star Trek stuff. You have the skipper, you have the XO, you have your JOs wandering around doing bullshit. You have your regular crewmen, but you still have a chief. And you have a cook. The cook is maybe my favorite character.
Yeah. And a lot of people, a lot of the actors on here are, they served in World War II or Korea. So
funny that you should mention the submarine thing, because the characters behaved like men trapped on a submarine for 6 months and exposed to a beautiful woman for the first time in 6 months.
Yeah.
They were in space.
Yeah, he even yelled about it.
Yeah.
Windows, we don't need no stinking windows. Thank you, Gavin, for that comment. That is hilarious.
Which I think is good acting, by the way, that they said, okay, obviously beautiful. There's no contesting that. But they were like, okay, we got to like leer a little because we've been trapped in space for like a year.
So they're approaching, I forget what the name of the planet is, but it's, so what, here's the name of their ship, the name.
It's, is it Altair 4?
It's the same name as the
Altair
woman,
4.
actually, as the girl, as the daughter.
It's
Altera?
Altair 4, which is also in they used in Star Trek a lot.
Not surprising. Also, it's the 23rd century. That's when Star Trek happens. The ship, the United Planets, instead of United Federation, it's United Planets cruiser C-57D. So it doesn't have like a clever name like Enterprise, but the same kind of vibe is there.
I love along the lines of them being so like naval oriented and like all the ranks and everything. I like the fact that they've got that stereotypical old striped undershirt without actually making it striped. They've made it 3-dimensional, so it still kind of feels like it, like that old like kind of naval uniform thing.
Oh, so they're approaching the planet, and the plot here is it was filmed. Thank you, Pops.
By the way,
there was the group of scientists who landed on Altera 20 years ago, and they haven't had contact since. So they're going to see what's going on with those scientists. That's their mission right now.
Altair is a real star. It's one of the 10 brightest stars in our sky, maybe 20, somewhere in there. And it's about 20 or 25 light years away from the sun now. I'm trying to remember.
Hello, Zax. So we got Zax, Pops, and Mama Bear out there, as well as our good friend Left Eye Ego. Hello, my friends. Always good to see you out there. My sweat is clouding my eyes right now. So they're getting ready to come out of their faster than light speed. They have what they're going to step into is called like a de-acceleration. I don't know. What it looks like is the fucking transporter, but it's something to protect them while they're coming out of hyperspace.
Either that or.
So check this out. Look at it now. Look at it. There's the cook standing on the end. So they stand on these little pads, and then you have this.
They're doing that so they don't become jelly on the wall.
Yes,
it's probably
100% right.
Like an inertial dampener type thing that keeps them from.
But you know where Star Trek got its fucking transporters from.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I love the change in lighting around the ship, and then you're back to normal, and then they come out of it, and then they're all like, "Whoa, fuck!" I thought that was interesting that they actually show signs that they did feel something while they were in there. Except for the
there's a lot of places where they have
Oh, I'm sorry. I just said I love that the cook comes out of cryo freeze and he's still got his apron and his hat on.
Right?
Consistency.
So they're trying to make. Oh, this is. It's funny because he's like, "Hey, it's kind of hot in here, Skipper," and so they show the sun, and they do have a viewer screen though. They're not totally blind. So forgive me, my eyes. And so I thought this effect was so well done.
Yeah.
They make the joke the ship creates its own eclipse.
Yeah, classic 1950s sci-fi art, basically.
Yeah.
Just looks really good. As they approach Altair 4 is the planet, and they're trying to make contact with them, and they're getting static for a minute. The what's his name? Dr. Morbius tells them not to come down. So Morbius is he and his wife were the lone survivors of whatever happened. We don't know exactly what that is. You've never seen this one, Zax? Well, you are in Canada.
It's starring it stars a famous Canadian. You should have seen it, Zach.
Did I feed Pip? My wife is sending me a text. Mrs. of the Empire is sending me a text right now asking me if I fed the dog, and the answer is no, I did not. I did not. I was very busy before the show.
On Dr. Morbius's name, there's no like clear reasoning for this, but Morbius, people speculated it's based on the Latin word morbus, which means like sickness, and that was assigned to the audience like a subtle little note that he has some sort of health problem, mental or physical. If we all know what happened later.
I mean, take a look at that uniform. That inspires not just old Trek, but the movies too. The belt looks almost exactly like the belt in the movies.
I like these uniforms. I get it. They are dated. And I want to say hi to Alistair's Queen Emma. Welcome to the show. The suits, they do look like military uniforms. Granted, it is a very specific sci-fi era, the 50s, but they don't come off as goofy, I think.
Right.
I like everything but the hat.
Yeah, the hat
kind of feels like they're just wearing baseball caps, but I know there's similar.
That's the modern military.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I know I've seen modern military. Like, I mean,
that
look fine if it was just camo, but
hey, who's that guy?
He's
anybody?
He plays Oscar Goldman in $6 Million Man. Richard. Richard. Oh, what the hell is his last name?
Richard
Dad?
Anderson. Huh? This is Richard Anderson playing Chief Quinn who
Yeah.
who also played Oscar Goldman on The $6 Million Man. So yeah, they got a chief.
Yeah, there's a what's his name? James. Getting a blank here.
You're not
And he-
helping.
James Drury.
And he acted, by the way, in
James Jury is in here too. The guy that played
Oh,
the
yeah, as
Virginian
Crewman
in the
Strong.
series.
Richard Anderson was in a lot of TV shows and movies too, not just $6 Million Man.
So Dr. Morbius warned them not to come. He said he wasn't going to take responsibility for their safety, blah, 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 blah. And then he gives them this landing zone, and they're like, where the fuck is this? Yeah, this is that conversation. Watch Leslie Nielsen, who is Commander Adams. His
liked him
face
in
as
this
he's
movie.
talking. I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah.
I was shocked to find out this was only his third film.
You also
And, like,
get
first
what I
starring
think you get a lot of Jim
That's
Kirk
cool.
vibes from Commander Adams. A lot of his body stuff, the way he
I can see
carries
that.
himself,
And how he treats women.
Obviously goes without saying.
Dude, yeah, we're gonna have a conversation about that because that was wild.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that whole thing. So
Oh
this
my
part
God.
here, see the beam stuff? That's all Disney animators did that.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Captain is honing his skills for the naked. People do call it the Leslie Nielsen factor. So if you see Naked Gun, you're trying to get that out of your head. But Leslie Nielsen, before he did the Naked Gun, was actually a serious actor.
Right. He was in his serious actor phase during this point here.
He did a bunch of good movies and stuff. Yeah.
So okay, so this thing goes down with it's got the center pylon, and then these come down because otherwise this thing would probably fall over. But then I saw the scale of it, and I was like, wait a second. So you're telling me all that you can see on the interior of the ship is basically their living space in there for a year. I was like, holy crap, that ship is not very big. And then they start pulling all this stuff out of it. And I
don't know where the fuck they were keeping that, dude.
Where were you?
They probably had like some sort of bag of holding for any of you
they had
it's
a TARDIS. Okay, it's a TARDIS in there.
Exactly. Battery things.
Well, that explains why they were so horny when they got off the damn shit.
I think O.J. Simpson already had a serious phase.
And the
Zach.
crew complement is, I'm trying to think what they said it was, 24, something like that. So you got the commander, the captain, the doctor, the chief, and the other lieutenant, right? And then 20 people. You figure divide that up between 3 shifts, and that's your crew, including like the cook and stuff.
Well, maybe they had more crew members, but Cook made them into food, so that's how they took care of the problem.
Yeah.
I mean,
waste not.
When I see a movie like this, I always think about that kind of stuff. Like, how many people did they have? What are they doing? Where do they keep all this stuff? That part's kind of interesting, And they explain a lot of it, like in Star Trek. Well, we have a replicator, and the ships are ridiculously big with all kinds of unused space inside. But that's not the case on this.
No, they definitely don't have a lot of unused space.
Right.
Gavin Blackburn, welcome to the show. Or have I already? No, you're already here. Never mind. Forgive me. I'm very hot, and I'm probably going to have some kind of heat-oriented disruption during the show.
Somebody's going to have to clip Roman saying, "I'm very hot."
Speaking of,
forgive me, I am hot and sassy.
Of his point that he just made about the ships being bigger, that's also my big pet peeve in video games. So you get in the inside of a ship, specifically like from Mass Effect, when the Normandy would land, and I'm talking about in Andromeda. Anyway, when the ship landed, it needed to be like 6 times bigger than it was. It was freaking too small, and I don't know. It's a pet peeve of mine. And they also have to have crew quarters and stuff. I hate spaceships that are supposed to be long travel and they have no place for anybody to go to the bathroom or sleep.
They got a lot of empty Coca-Cola bottles.
Yeah.
So then
Or
the
whiskey
robot
bottles. They
shows
do
up.
have whiskey.
Robbie the robot. His name is actually Robbie in this film. Has been driving like a maniac to get there. He's got his little vehicle he shows up in, and then it opens up and he gets out and he's got these big ball legs. I mean, this is the robot design of the era, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember that this is
it's pretty good.
cutting edge. Yeah.
And I think he technically is the only listed surviving star of this movie today.
That's true. So they're just having a conversation. He's going to ask them to go with him, and they're like, "You are a robot, right?" And then it's funny because they're like, "Is it a he or a she?" He's like, "In my case, it absolutely doesn't fucking matter." So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, they were very forward thinking. Asking,
they were very liberal back then. Hey, had their time.
And then as soon as the cook finds out it doesn't matter, he just fucking wanders off. He's like, "That's not a girl."
I like their utility belts. So they have like a I don't know if you saw it before.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
But this little thing. Oh wait, we haven't got to it yet. Where they're talking.
Where he's talking to
the doctor, and he wants information on him, and he puts like a little plastic slide card in there, and it brings it up. And then the comm things on their belt, you pull it. It has a wire, and you pull it up, but they can talk into it.
Yeah, it's not wireless. The wireless concept did not exist at that point.
But the belt has like utility stuff on it, like kind of like a scanner thing or whatever.
So now they're off. That little dust cloud is them going back. That's the effect. I thought it was pretty good. Again, I love these paintings.
Oh yeah.
Actually, there may be painting with like model incorporated it on this one.
By the way,
they show up.
More random trivia for you. The guy who plays Cook, don't remember his name, but he's a famous actor. He was also in the first episode of the $6 Million Man, where Richard Anderson played Oscar Goldman for the first time.
Oh, that was Earl Holliman is the actor's name, and again, he may be my favorite character in the movie. So let's go. It's a little bit of trivia here, just kind of going down. As our good friend Pops pointed out, this was the same stage as Wizard of Oz, which was filmed 17 years earlier.
1939.
The garden that Altera shows us in a bit is a reuse of the Munchkin Village set, which is kind of funny. This is the first.
I was like, wait a second, that tree in the grass looks a little familiar.
So that's where the Red Road went.
This is the first mainstream film to use entirely electronic instruments. And the reaction from the preview audience to the movie when it was released was so positive they didn't do any changes to it.
What was the Rotten Tomato score like back then?
They didn't have that because they were regular people who didn't depend on the internet to tell them what to like. So I love this. Dr. Morbius is hanging out like a shadow, just waiting for them to show up. Look at that stance. So Dr. Morbius, Walter Pidgeon plays Dr. Morbius.
Walter
Careful, he's a
Pidgeon,
vampire.
if you remember the movie Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea that spun off into the TV show, he was in the movie as one of the 2 or 3 main characters.
So he basically just wants to get them the fuck away from here. That's his like whole goal for the first bit of meeting them. It's hilarious. It's good that you gentlemen came to the planet. Please fucking leave.
And he's right, by the way. He's right.
We're going to be making comparisons this entire show because it's so many things about this reminds us of so many other things because just that influential. Like I was immediately reminded of the Star Trek Next Generation episode where they go to the planet and it's just a husband and wife on the entire planet. He basically is spending the entire episode telling them they need to leave.
That's a great episode.
Yeah.
His name is Kevin and what was her name?
Yeah. But yeah, there's that. And also I'm getting kind of maybe ironically, because later on we find out we have a problem with Morbius's id is him living alone on this kind of vibrant planet reminds me a lot of Ego have his house
Oh,
kind of in the middle of nowhere in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to like keep my mouth shut. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be like, oh, it's like this. Oh, it's like this every 2 minutes.
You're right.
There's a lot of it's like this. You're right.
Similar type of things, you know.
But here's the real
I
question:
mean,
how
they all
is it
probably
like?
copied.
How's it like Naruto? That's the real question.
Yeah.
We'll find
Actually,
something.
there are aliens from outer space that do invade the Naruto world. So
That's true.
Stop it, Mando. So
well, the
so
does kind of look like Shikaku. It's the one tail.
Yeah.
There you go.
Fish. So our landing party, effectively, what our landing party is, not unlike Star Trek, it's the commander Adams, Leslie Nielsen, the Doc Ostro, and Lieutenant Fairman is played by Jack Kelly.
But here, it actually makes sense for them to go. Right.
Well, they're already on the planet.
Exactly. And it's like a diplomatic thing. So you're not going to send a bunch of red shirts to deal with this guy. You know what I mean? So,
you know what's
so
funny? If he didn't have a daughter, they would have just left.
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. No way, dude.
This is all very interesting, Doctor, but fuck it, let's go.
And also, if their daughter didn't look like Anne Francis, they would have.
yeah.
Oh my
I thought she had some Juliette Lewis vibes to her. I don't know what you guys did. You see that? Oh.
I could feel that. Yeah, for sure.
I got the trivia drop for the daughter for you, which you'll never expect.
Hey, is this scene
Lord.
here where he's explaining how the Robbie
Yeah, the
made
replicator.
food and all that? Is this the first type of replicator seen in science fiction, or
I believe it is.
Or on-
if there's
on
another
film,
one, I'm
how
not
about
aware
that?
of it.
I'm pretty sure somebody had already come up with it before in a book somewhere.
So they're having the lunch, and they ask, "Well, where did all this food come from?" And Morbius explains, "Well, all I had to do is give Robbie a sample of human food, and he can manufacture any type of human food after that." So the replicator from Star Trek, as Shieldwall was saying, is definitely a derivative of this. Oh, look what we got going on! Nice.
Nice.
This one's gonna be the first time that I've done this on. Well, actually, no, I take that back. I can't find just one scene that I want to do because I want to put so many of these iconic images in here. So I'm gonna do like a collage of many different things.
Oh,
so I've got
right
my
on.
reference photos
Nice.
up here. Yeah.
Oh,
of the
cool,
chart.
dude.
Yeah, I really like this scene right here where he's. Well, we'll get to that later on.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
The thing that got me
Cool.
about her was her eyes.
Oh,
How,
yeah.
like, blue they were. You know, and also some of the clothes she wears.
Eyes.
Yeah,
She had eyes.
but I mean, she has the quintessential 1950s figure. You know,
No, yeah, she does. And back then they really knew how to accent things on the ladies.
Well, by I mean, I know we're joking about, but by modern standards, she's dressed how a woman normally dressed now when they're young and attractive. You know what I mean? It's like,
oh yeah, but
Yeah,
what she was wearing here though when she first shows up is scandalous at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of. Unless you're like at the beach or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is where they introduce it's a basically disintegrator beam for the trash.
Yeah,
And this is
these guys
also
have,
where they
like laser weapons and stuff. Why they should have already had something like that.
well, I don't know that the Doc did though. Oh, so this is important to point out about, or not the Doc. Well, I guess he is Morbius. He is not an engineer. He is not, that
Oh,
kind
he's
of
like a
scientist.
philosopher or something, right?
He's a linguist.
Yeah,
He's a
that's it.
linguist.
he's a philologist.
Which
That's
is a
what
weird word.
that's what J.R.R. Tolkien was. He was a philologist. They study ancient and obscure languages and history related to them and all that sort of stuff, and do translation.
With a minor in robotology.
Well, I mean, he got the super intelligence boost from the machines. That's why he can make all this stuff. You know?
And so this is where he shows them Robbie's basically his total obedience. So you could see that the thing gets disintegrated, and the Doc's like, "Yeah, he'll do whatever I tell him to." He's like, "Stick your arm in there," and he's gonna do it. And the Doc's like, "No, stop." And then this is where he demonstrates, and this is where what are the Asimov's rule for robotics or something? What is it called? Something around that way. Anyway,
Well, the Asimov has four.
The three rules.
Technically, there's four of them, but yeah, the Asimov laws are robotic.
And which is you cannot, allow a human to be harmed. So he asked the commander for his sidearm here, which if I were the commander, I probably wouldn't have done this, but whatever. It's in the movie. He gives it to the robot. The robot understands it. He uses it, and he's like, shoot it at the commander, who's just standing there like a champ. And then the robot
there is a very small thing, and I thought it was a nice little acting choice when he says shoot it. Like obviously the other guys react, but he mostly does nothing. He mostly does nothing, but you see his like right hand kind of twitch a few times, like he's trying to be brave for like his men. It was a nice little touch.
Yeah,
there are a lot of those little like very subtle movements that they do. Like one we were talking about their whatchamacallit, their comm system, whatever. And they have their little what do you call them? The things on their utility belts they're using to speak to people with. Okay. Well, he goes to speak to one of the people, and it's just a small thing, and he goes to speak into it, and he's like, "Oh, I haven't turned it on yet." And obviously he doesn't need to turn it on because it's just a prop. But then he presses it to turn it on to speak to him. It's like that's a really nice little subtlety there. You know what I mean? It just shows like human error. I really like that.
Well, and it adds that it's that foot in the real world kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that TNG episode that they were talking about, John Anderson and Kevin Uxbridge.
That was a character name.
Yeah.
So the robot cannot fire the weapon, and so he'll short himself out if he this keeps with that command. So he tells him to stop.
Which is a plot, by the way, that returned in a later movie, 2001, 2010. The reason Hal goes mad in the first movie is because they gave him conflicting laws about not harming people. Then the government CIA types told him he had to cover up the secret and they harmed the people. So that concept does get played out in a science fiction movie. Interesting enough.
Yeah, he was supposed to be incapable of lying, right?
Yeah, he couldn't lie and harm people,
right.
But because he had to cover the secrets up, he had to kill them and lie. So it just trapped him in a circle of. Roy Scheider's character explained it in 2010 when he discovered the problem.
So now the doctor is basically saying, look, everybody else died from some unknown force on the planet, but I'm perfectly safe. Look, Robbie built me these shutters to keep me safe. And he says a command and all these metal doors drop down. And they get freaked out. He's like, yeah. Like, I didn't mean to start it.
I thought it was a neat little effect for the movie. Like it happened.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, boom, 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 boom,
like,
boom, boom. They drop down.
Time lapse or not time lapse.
Yeah,
motion capture kind of thing.
That's what I figured. But it looked well. It looked fluid.
It's probably just a film splice. In other words, they filmed to that point, then repeat film and then like with the windows in place and just cut a splice and boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too, Pops. I loved. Like I said, my any criticism I have of this movie are so minor, but I love these sets.
Which, interestingly enough, just about the window thing, like that's clearly how they did with that technology because they probably really couldn't blend stuff that way very well. Nowadays, all of us who do video, we have automatic blending filters and stuff for scene transitions. And,
Yeah, but look at all that furniture. All of that was like cutting edge, avant-garde, French,
weird
stuff. Yeah, you would see in at the time it was very modern, and that couch those guys were sitting on, that material that's got like the shiny thread in it or whatever, like golden thread woven into it.
That was space furniture.
Yeah. He's got like what is that? Plastic sections behind him. So that was a big thing. Yeah, that's a big deal.
That's so weird. So again, he's basically just trying to get them the fuck out of there. That's his. I'm safe. Everything is fine. I don't need you to be here. This was way before Star Trek. This is about 10 years before Star Trek.
10 or 15, yeah. Just like Doctor Who comes out a couple years after this. British science fiction films like the there's a couple of British science fiction films that have similar tone to this that came out. The Professor Quartermain movies, if you those who follow this stuff know what I'm talking about. This is interestingly like you could find lesser known films that have similar plots or whatever, like the blending of you have to pass along, and eventually you get the signature movie of that type. Like this is kind of the signature movie of this type as science fiction was evolving, in a certain way. And then after this, you can see this film's influence. Like another example would be.
I did not know that Ren and Stimpy and Dr. Mobius had the same interior decorator.
Yeah. Like to understand what I meant, that a similar film would have been, 10 years after this, Night of the Living Dead. Like there were zombie films for decades before that, but once Night of the Living Dead came out, it codified them in all future zombie films. Well, that type of zombie.
So that was zombies in like a voodoo sense. That wasn't zombies as in the flesh-eating ghoul we know today, right?
You can find some films with some of that, but they still
really?
Supernatural claws, but they were flesh eaters. Like they wasn't necessarily all associated with voodoo. There's a lot of obscure films out there, man. I every time I find more, like Jacob and I go over filmographies on my show on Fridays, and some of those guys we talk about, Jacob, will look back and they've been doing films from like the 20s and whatever, with all these obscure silent science horror films or whatever. You know what I mean? There's so many movies and TV shows out there. Like, what was I joking about with the book on Awakenings on the Jacob show? Like, it's going to take me 640 years to read my book list. It's going to take me 10,000 to see all the movies and TV shows that I really still want to see out there. And so I have to put my head in the jar and put on Robbie the Robot Bot, So.
I'm sorry, Matt. Roman advanced the slide and everybody stopped listening.
So I did want to.
I'm just going to say this.
Gene Roddenberry. Go ahead.
He needs to get her to Earth as soon as possible.
So this actress, this beautiful, amazing actress, right? She was in a very controversial film as the girlfriend of one of the three main characters. And one of the actors, it was actually his first movie. Now, we all know about these woke morons destroying our fandoms and all that now, and they're mostly leftists and Marxists. Back in the day, in the 80s, the people who were doing it were a combination of religious right extremists and crazy psychologists. And this woman wrote a book called Mazes and Monsters, which was a movie that came out in the early 80s.
I remember that.
With Tom Hanks was the main star. And about the premise of the book was that games like Dungeons and Dragons were gateways to evil and dementia and possession. And she literally, like, I joke, I'm not, I semi-joke, but I'm telling the truth when I say this. One of my aunts tried to have an exorcism done on me because she found out I was playing Dungeons and Dragons when I was like, okay.
That's the reason.
The funny thing is, the priest himself, after talking to me, started playing D&D. So, but the point is, that movie was so horribly, horrible. And she was like, Ellen? She was like, I think she might have been Tom Hanks' character's girlfriend or his sister. I don't remember the whole. I've only seen the movie twice. Once when it came on, and I wanted to shoot the screen, and a few years later but it was anyway. Point is, she's an amazingly beautiful woman, as we all know, and she starred in many other things. So she got a few fun. But like, she's famous for this movie and infamous for another movie. The extremes of of the career.
It's interesting because she points out that as soon as they were put on the set, they were told to take it seriously. I thought that was interesting, and that's from Anne Francis. Another interesting thing, Gene Roddenberry took major inspiration from this, and Warren Stevens, who plays Doc, would guest star in By Any Other Name. That's one of the 1968 episodes. Where he was the true shape of the Kelvins, because they remember they had transcended their human or a need for a body and became basically an energy life form.
Yeah.
So interesting thing. Again, not different than this movie.
She even has perfect knees.
So Altera shows up here, and she is not supposed to. Dad gave her direction not to come while the guests were. And she said, well, not while you were having lunch. And now lunch is over. So she's very literal. And look at everybody's lighting up. They're also happy. Doc has a bit of a Cro-Mag looking brow, though. Very,
but he's the
very
only one.
Cro-Mag looking. Yeah,
He's the only one that doesn't simp, though, out of the whole.
That's true.
Which kind of you
He
was
may have
giving me
had it
young
in for the
Brando
cook.
vibes.
yeah, he might have you never know.
I wonder
Anyway,
how the cook's feeling. I wonder if he's thinking about me right now.
yeah, but here's the truth about this. Nothing will destroy good order and discipline faster than introducing a woman like this in the midst of 24 men that have been in space for a year. You really have to tighten things down for it not to go wrong.
Yeah.
Just the faces are just so funny. It's a woman. So now Robbie's making coffee. So they're chatting it up a bit, and I thought you said that you and your wife, and so the daughter was, I guess, I forget how the wife died. Did she die during childbirth?
She just died of old age, or something like she.
He said, unlike the others, her death was natural.
Natural. So
he doesn't specify.
Natural. Okay.
They'd been on the planet for 19 years.
Yeah, but he also says that he is the only person his daughter has ever known.
Yes.
Right.
So that leads me to believe the wife died.
Oh, okay.
It could have just been something like, maybe she died in childbirth. I got the impression she'd been dead for a while.
Lieutenant is over here making the moves.
So this whole time,
don't blame him.
I'm thinking the wife, died. I was like, is she a clone? Is she a robot? Is she, something, weird? I'm thinking that Morbius is like some kind of evil guy or whatever with like ulterior plans, and
they did a good job of misdirecting on this because Morbius is basically the good guy in this. He's trying to protect people from this horrible technology, and I mean, if there's any reason for the Prime Directive in Star Trek, you would not want this technology getting loose to a primitive Earth society. I mean, how many like horrible monsters would we create with this thing?
Right?
Yeah,
that's true. So right now the lieutenant's telling the girl basically, I'm okay, and Doc's all right, but you got to watch out for the commander. She's like, I see it in his eyes. So they were gonna go back. They would have gone back, but then they basically, all the information they got made it so, well, now we can't go back. We need to report everything that we've seen thus far.
So, and here's the other dynamic with her. So everyone's like, oh, these lecherous dudes, and all they want to do is get at this girl and whatever. But you see later as it goes through, she's interested in like talking to these guys and getting to know them, and nature taking its course kind of thing. So she's innocent in the fact that she doesn't know anything, but she's not bereft of desire. How about that?
So this is actually more to Shieldball's point. So she's saying they're like, hey, going back to Earth, and she's like, why would I do that? I have you, Father, and I have all my friends. And they're like, your friends? What are you talking about? And then we get this interesting scene of her going out into her garden, which, as we stated earlier, is a reuse of the Munchkins set from Wizard of Oz, which is interesting. So here she's got deer hanging out with her.
This is her Disney princess moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Snow White.
I feel like she should have just started like doing what all of the Disney princesses at this time is just like the ambiotic, like
Yeah.
And the so this was an interesting little tidbit too. The tiger and the girl were never actually on the same time.
You could see the colors change.
There was one brief
almost
spot
transparent.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was they used
overall
they
it
projected
works pretty well,
on the
but
glass or how they did it.
I think they just filmed at different times.
Okay.
Yeah,
and so
I think it was just
cameras in
just
exactly the same spot.
Yeah, it's just a lockdown camera, and they just did the old-fashioned splice it together and tape it. And when it looks a little bit transparent, that's where it would have overlapped a little bit with the clean plate when the tiger wasn't there versus the other one where he was.
It still looked good.
Yeah, they didn't want to have it. They didn't want to have another tiger on set.
Can't imagine why.
So
I got you there.
Oh, so she says hi to the crew. Oh, he's doing a visual. That's right. I forgot. His little device also can let them see everything that's going on.
So
like a
I want to show you off to my crew. It's for morale reasons.
Yeah, why is he doing that? The fact that there's a woman there, she shouldn't even. Nah, he shouldn't be doing any of that. This guy's insane. She should be top secret. No one should even know she exists.
So this is he's talking about where everybody else from the landing party ended up. This is the big grave site here on Altair. Again, I love the map painting. I think it's really, really nice.
Yeah,
the purple trees and everything. It looks really good.
So the more and more I watch this movie, it's probably about 10, maybe 8-10 times I've seen it since I watched it as a kid. I get more and more impressed by the writers. And you know how sometimes you look at it and you wonder, did they actually include that for a reason? Like I mentioned, Dr. Morbius' name being maybe derived from the Latin word for sickness, right? Well, you saw her standing next to a tiger, right? There's a famous story, also called The Lady or the Tiger, from like the 1800s or something. And the premise of the story is at the end, without going crazy about it, is that you have to choose a room that has a beautiful lady you can marry or a vicious tiger that will kill you. And this story is about making a choice, this movie, right? Between what could destroy the earth or what could save it, type of thing. A little different variation because I always wonder what the more and more I watch a movie, did the writers think of all that with all these little plants that they do, I think
some probably did.
Yeah. Because you see stuff with all these movies and TV shows, and how we can see, for instance, all this influence in Star Wars, Star Trek, and all on and on. Well, now if you all their influences in this, and it's just interesting how it all sort of meshes together, and what's real and what's not.
Yes. No, you may not, Beard. You're trapped here with us. So now they're getting ready back to the ship to their base. I told you not to come out. But Dad, you said.
And look at her face. Look how happy she is.
Yeah, she is. Look at that. Look at that.
Plotting. She's already plotting. Like, which one is him?
I mean,
to
be honest, these are the first other people she's ever seen besides her father. Like, I would imagine she's like, I want to get the heck out of here because rebellious teenager. Yeah. I bet her rebellious phase was.
Oh, no. She got that itch.
The interesting psychology, when you're a kid and you grow up with your parents and your siblings, I forgot the name of it, but there's a reason you don't find them attractive, even if you all look like supermodels. There's some sort of psychological, biochemical bonding thing. There's a name for it. There's a scientific name for it. And so she would have that with her dad, right? And then unless she has stud statues around, she would never have seen a man she found attractive until they showed up. So full hormonal explosion, a bunch of relatively good-looking dudes walk in uniforms, and this girl is, what is she, 20 or whatever, never seen them, didn't even know that a man could be attractive, right? So, and then boom, As
far as I can tell, she's been dating the tiger. So the ship itself is supposed to be about 170 feet in width. It's a circle, so that's which is so that just so you kind of get a vibe of it. But so shield wall, I guess this main section on top was where the small. I mean, that's still really tight for 24.
That's what I'm saying. It goes to the bottom part where the core comes down. That bottom part down there that hangs down, that's probably where the tractor and the weapons are kept.
All the gear,
all the gear and stuff. And then maybe out into the to the saucer section, there might be some stuff stored in there. that you
Well,
could,
that's
like,
that. I
drop
would say
down.
that's storage. That's storage in your bunks. Like you have to like crawl through a tube to get to your bed.
Well, they show the bunks. They're literally like
Oh yeah.
chain bunks that
Yeah,
flip
it's like
down,
old
right,
school,
yeah.
The old sailing ships.
And there's like a pressure door thing you have to. So this is the engine core right here. They're pulling out. So for some reason, in order to make this transmitter to call Earth, they got to like
Which is
disassemble the
weird.
ship. Yeah.
I didn't get that. I didn't understand that at all, because obviously they're going to have to communicate with Earth again, but they have to really jump through their ass to create a device that can do it. I thought that was a little bit strange. I guess, I mean, working into you need time in the movie for things to happen. So I guess it works for that, because they have to have time to build this device.
Also, we forgot to mention that. So the whole crew of the Bellerophon dies. That's the ship that Morbius was
The
on.
original, yeah.
The original ship. And then it went to take off. Like there were a couple people left alive, and they were like, "Ooh, we got to get the hell out of here." And the ship blew up on
There's your reference for Aliens, the shake and bake colony.
Right.
Oh yeah. Well, we've lost contact with whatever it was, LV-428. We need to go investigate. Here's the tractor. Nice.
Yeah, I mean,
it's real tech too, real gear.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got an electromagnetic like crane thing on the back. I still don't understand where it came from.
No, I still can't figure out where you're right, because they have two hatches coming down. Where the fuck did this come from?
Well, if you actually look at it, there's 3 of those legs. Just they only show 2 at a time. And then I could see maybe if it was like could fold down flat.
Speaking of 2 legs,
install like the wheels separately.
Sorry.
Or something. I don't know. The military does some crazy stuff. Like if you transport a CH-53 helicopter in a C-5, you have to take the entire rotor head package off to make it fit.
Yes.
So once you get it on the ground, you spend the next 16 hours putting all that crap back together.
And then you got FCF.
Yep. Yeah. And then you got to fly it and get it ready to go and all that. So it's a big deal.
Actually works again.
Yeah.
So
it could be a fold out tractor.
Well, it could be. I don't know. I'd say I care, but I don't. I'm too hot to care. So Altera shows up to the site, and they ask her, "Does your father know you're here?" And she's like, "Oh, he'd probably lose his mind." But again, she's wearing a very attractive outfit.
Yeah.
It's just so funny. Boosh, when did you sneak in? Hello, sir.
Boosh.
Why the hell don't I have a wrench? I don't know. Boosh, do you want a wrench?
Although
it's because you dodged it.
Point in the story,
you can dodge a wrench. You can dodge.
She had no idea that she was that attractive. Like she might have knew she was healthy or whatever, but she's had no physical responses to say, "Oh my God, you're hot as hell," you know?
Yeah.
Well, also, this is a boost to her ego. She understands that the men folk are looking at her, and she's like, I like this attention. This is very different attention than what I'm used to. I want more of this.
Yeah, the tiger doesn't look at me that way. And if he does, run.
Wait.
I love the lieutenant's just all over this. This is Lieutenant Fairman. So everybody else over here working their asses off, trying to get this freaking the core out so they can make this transmission device. And this is like one of the few just straight up done for humor things in the movie. The cook's hanging out, just kind of fucking off and not really being much help. And he's wearing a belt that has metal on it. And the skipper's like, he signals to the magnet, and he just zaps him, and he gets stuck to the magnet. Kind of funny. He's like, "So long, Cookie."
Technically,
don't do that to the person who's going to cook your food. They're the ones that's going to spit in it. You treat them well.
If that belt were all made of metal, it should have cut him in half.
Just ripped it right through. Mm-hmm. So here's all the parts of the ship. They literally dissected the ship. The ship cannot fly right now because they've got all the parts here to make this transmitter. And here we look at we talked about different uniforms before. So the chief is the one, Oscar Goldman, is wearing kind of like a coveralls type thing with the short sleeves going on right now.
We can rebuild the ship. We can make it faster, stronger.
So the cook wanders off. This is fucking hilarious. Hanging out with the robot, he's like, "So you can make anything out of some molecules, right?" He's like, "Hey, can you make bourbon?" And he's got just a little bit left in his bottle, and he's like, "Can you make this?" And the robot grabs it and he drinks like the whole thing, which is funny. And he's like, what was it? He like, how much did he make? 40 gallons or something?
60 gallons? Would you?
Yeah.
60
Would
gallons.
that be enough?
And that also shows a bit of a plot hole in the movie, though. One of the few flaws. Like, why didn't have the robot build them another transmitter?
Right? I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, wait a second. This robot can build anything and everything.
Yeah.
Why aren't you building another ship? Why aren't, like, that was my whole thing. It's like, why don't you build another ship to escape? You know,
Maybe
because they don't want to leave. That's why.
Right.
Because Morbius wants to protect the universe from this thing. Like, he does, this is.
Right. But like early on, like when you're thinking about it, it's like, I wonder,
I mean, think how much we would mess the world up if any one of us just found a las gun from Dune and pulled the trigger. You would kill people like 100 miles away. Just like, you know what I mean? This superpower technology in the hands of like simple chimps like us would not end well.
And here we have the lieutenant.
The other reason they might not have thought of having it made is because it was such a new technology and they only showed it to him once. It like didn't occur to him.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's also not a major plot flaw. It's just
hello, cannoli.
Yeah.
Oof. So again, we have the lieutenant making the moves here, and he's talking about how kissing is good for you, sir. What?
Yeah, show James's art.
Oh, wow. There we go.
Coming to life, my friend.
It's
and behind me, I can hear my action figures falling because of the heat, and that is not making me very happy right now because that's just shit I'm going to have to clean up after the show.
Falling or melting?
The knees, the knee joints are made of a different material. They're more rubber than plastic, so they get real wobbly in this in the extreme heat. Yeah. So they're just dropping like flies back there and knocking over everything. And I'm going to kill myself after the show. So, kissing is good for you. That's what this scene is about. And she's like, I don't feel anything. Try it again. She's like, nope. One more time. She's like, maybe that time. I don't know.
So is she actually just that innocent and not knowing, or is she manipulating him more than he's manipulating her?
I think say yes.
And look at the look on the other actor's face, like he's acting like you moron. You looking at the guy.
Yeah. And if you're really having a bad day, wait till I teach you about blowjobs.
Morbius would be like,
not part of the movie.
In my head it is.
But he can't kill my daughter's virtue, and Robbie just kills them all.
So the skipper shows up and he's like, dude, you need to get back to whatever the fuck you're supposed to be doing. And then he yells at her. She's like, how do you expect them to act? Look at you all dressed like you're how you are.
And she's like, I don't know what you freaking mean, bro. This is all I've ever known.
I like these clothes. He's like, look at you. Look at you.
How dare you look hot? Cover up. You dress more like an Amish woman. Come on.
You know how hard my erection is right now. Shame on you.
All right. Gotta have your show time code for that.
Dude, he cheaped her out. I was like, but like he had a valid point. I was like, he's like, we got stuff to do. You're coming in.
You're a distraction.
Like a hussy.
Which she wouldn't even know what that means.
I know.
So maybe back on Earth, all the women wear flumpy dresses and uniforms now. So that's why they've never actually.
Yeah, I know they all dress like it's the what's the show that liberals always say the future is going to be.
Oh, the something wife.
The housemaid or the
handmaid's
Oh,
tale.
Jesus.
handmaid.
Yeah,
Handmaid's
that's
Tale.
exactly
Handmaid's
what
Tale.
we're doing. Although her dress is actually more reminiscent of the length of the skirt in the original Star Trek series.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which some of the men wore.
That's what he's thinking right now. She told him how the commander blew up, and he's like, oh boy, he's making the moves.
But that didn't go over too well, Beard.
Oh,
when
I
they
know.
introduced that on TNG.
I know.
Yeah. And you know what? Just like on Earth, she's like, I want to date the one who treats me like shit.
Yeah.
Bad guy. I could fix him.
But
Yeah.
one thing
Why
about
do you
those
yell at
uniforms,
me? I want to
Beard,
make him like me.
Roman wears
So,
that when he's out in the garage because it's hot out there.
I literally wish I was dead right now. It's so fucking hot out here. It's absurdly hot. It's not good. So she tells the robot to make a new dress, and whatever. Now, admittedly, her styles are more like avant-garde styles of the era. But that's like the men's hairdos are basically the hairstyles of that era as well.
Yeah.
And so he's making the dress, and it's got rubies and diamonds on it, some kind of crazy shit because he can make whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I forget exactly what she asked for first, but he's like, that'll take too long. How about diamonds? She's like, oh, okay, I'll settle for diamonds.
Yeah, she wanted
They
rubies,
are.
and it was going to take like a week to make them. Or no,
Yeah.
emeralds, right? Or was
It was something.
Star
It was something
sapphires.
else. I don't remember exactly.
That's
It
right.
doesn't
It
matter.
was sapphires.
It was Star Sapphires,
Yeah.
I remember,
Yeah.
because I was like, oh, Green Lantern.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which is another interesting science fiction concept. That one, like right now, we live in what's called a scarcity-based economy. All of our kinds of economies are. Well, if and when we ever develop any sort of replication technology, scarcity, that's one of the two things that completely eliminates scarcity, and the whole economy just was based on if there's nothing is rare.
No, true.
Mhm.
This shot looks really good. It's a partial set and partial matte painting, but I think it looks fantastic.
Mhm.
Especially
Yeah.
for that time.
And there's a space truck.
So they're all on guard duty right now, keeping an eye on things. And this is where the guy's like, hey, I thought I heard like breathing, but they don't see anything. The projection is not very strong right now. It's not
I
super
thought I
strong
heard
anymore.
breathing. Dude, that wasn't me. You know I don't breathe.
So something's going up the stairs, and then something. This is the sleeping quarters they were talking about. This is fucking stupid. This is crazy. This is actually worse than we have it now in a regular.
Really an open
ship.
bay. Like that's the
Yes.
whole crew compartment is one giant room. Maybe there's partition for the bathrooms and stuff and the showers, but like they'd have to
I
have
hope
a
so.
laundry, they'd have to have a bunch of stuff to make this viable.
And they're only like a step away from the control room.
And literally the way you get into this hatch thing is like it's gonna hit this dude's
Through
butt.
their sleeping quarters.
Yeah.
I mean, look, even if
So
there is a partition for the bathroom, every time somebody takes a shit, the entire control room just stinks. Everybody knows you can't hide it.
Oh.
Cookie, what did you make? So the hatch opens, the hatch closes. This guy's like, I don't know what that was. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Please,
Cookie
please let me die.
makes beans for dinner and the whole compartment. Ooh.
Oops.
So
If you go back
sabotage
just
got-
one-
What's that?
You go
Showboat?
back just one slide. See that? That's like a crane or something, isn't it? This arm?
Oh, the little arm thing? I
Yeah,
don't know.
like
It
lifts
moved.
stuff out of the hatch.
It looks. I'm guessing it's a magnetic crane lifter thingy.
Right.
To the play at the end.
I'm just
And you can
interested
see
that
in-
they put it in there.
And just on the left, you can see the room that they had for the deceleration. So it's all like right there. So these guys are all in trouble because something got in and sabotaged the ship. I think this was a bit of an
I don't know why
overkill.
I don't know why they got after the guy that was asleep. I mean, he wouldn't
Right?
on
Well,
watch duty.
Yeah, they got no space pay for a month or some fucked up thing. It's like, dude. Hopefully he reversed this decision.
What were they going to spend it on?
So, man,
Maybe this wasn't the
Yeah, what
first.
they're gonna spend.
Maybe this
Because of
wasn't
your
the first
failure,
time
man.
they've done something like that. Maybe these guys have a pattern. Let's give them some credit.
Yes.
Because of your failure, man, unlike the rest of the crew, you will not be allowed to hit on the space woman.
No space woman for you.
But Captain,
They're all like, "Fuck, dude, really?" All right. Kinda fucked
Those
up.
are the no space woman faces.
So one of the coils got fucked up, and the engineer's saying, and he's like, "Well, how long will it take?" He's like, "Well, it's impossible." So he's like, "So actually, how long?" So again, you get Scotty here, the early version. He's like, about 2 days. And then you get the smile.
Yeah. When you're an engineer, always under promise so that you can over deliver. That's impossible. And in the back of your mind, you're thinking, I can do this in an afternoon, but I'm not going to say that.
How am I going to maintain my reputation as a medical worker? Here's that fucking thing that I don't know where it came from. The truck. They're gonna borrow because they want to go visit Morbius because they just got attacked. You don't understand. She's really hot.
Now they got like different hats on, and
they do. So they,
yeah.
Yeah, so it's weird that they do have the different the different hats. I mean, in the Navy, the Navy has like 5 fucking different hats. It's fucking retarded.
My thoughts were because this wasn't like official, they had a different hat or something. I don't know. That's kind of where my brain was. They had different hats for different occasions.
There's a monkey who wanders in. This is kind of funny. So and he's like stealing fruit. I don't know why the monkey's there, but it's all right. And then the robot zaps him and gets pissed. So they're like, "Where is Dr. Morbius? He is in his study. He is not to be disturbed." Okay, whatever, dude.
We'll wait. We'll just let ourselves in and wait.
And in the meanwhile, Altera's out swimming in her pond.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go see what's going on outside.
I have to make sure those 3 crewmen aren't sexually harassing her.
Right.
So I can.
It's like, oh
He's
my!
like, whoa. Thought you had a bathing suit on there.
What's a bathing suit? Well,
yeah, and she just really is totally innocent about it. I mean, we're making jokes, but it's like, I'll just turn away. And she goes, if that's what you want. It's like,
whatever.
It never occurs to her that is something that he's going to look at and go, wow, I wanna.
Her father really needed to give her a biology book.
Yes.
Right. I agree.
I don't think the father ever planned on it being relevant, you know?
That's because he never planned on it becoming a plan, though he could have known someone was going to show up eventually. Whew.
Man, it took him a while.
Like I feel like he could have at least, been like, "So daughter, we come from a planet called Earth. We are called humans. This is basic human biology, XYZ."
Yeah.
So he's like wowed even more by her in this dress. And she doesn't get it.
Yeah, because she's got her legs covered, but now her arms are out. Once you see elbows, oof, let me tell you.
That's the thing that always gets me about these older movies, like 30s, 40s, 50s, is how quick people just like, okay, now we're going to get together. And I don't know.
Hey, look, people didn't always need to have Tinder to hook up. Yeah, it is.
Oh, but another interesting thing. So before, when she had the white dress on, she had the red thing on, like stop. Now she has a greenish looking go type of necklace on.
Oh, nice. Good observation. So she feels something when they're kissing. And so does the tiger.
I was about to say, I bet she felt something while they were kissing.
Like, that's my bee. What are you doing, man?
Like, excuse you, that's mine.
Oh,
and so she's like, "Don't worry, he's harmless." And Commander's like, "Oh fuck, that tiger's gonna eat me." So Tiger's like, "I'm gonna fucking eat you," and he's about to ready to leap down, and then zap, Commander eats him out of existence.
Cool effect.
It is
a cool effect. I thought.
I love that.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to say this, and I'm not saying this to like demean this effect. Everything in this looks so solid because it's so much of the old school physical sets, high quality matte paintings. This is like the one effect that really stands out. Is kind of like, ooh, that's an artistic take. It is cool. Don't get me wrong.
I like it. So this is the same issue I have towards the end of the movie. But we have to remember the era, and
yes,
things
I mean it is literally a product of its time. That's what they had available. So when they wanted to do laser effects or energy effects and things like that, they literally would either have to paint on the film or overexpose or underexpose in order to create different effects. So yeah, I get it. It's a nitpick. So I know it is.
So she's like, he didn't recognize me. He didn't understand. So her exposure to other humans is making it her presence on that world different. It's changed. Something has changed. And welcome, Copa. Not and what? And what? As long as you're happy. So she's befuddled by what just happened. And he is not, though. He's like, oh, it's because you're showing attention for someone. And he's like, fuck this. I'm not waiting.
I guess kind of going back to something that Mom, I think it was Mama Badger earlier that said that I made the Disney princess joke, and I think Mom Badger said something about like Garden of Eden. So it could be kind of like, the arrival of these guys is like, disrupting the balance of the Garden of Eden.
Yeah. Well, again, if you look at Shakespeare's Tempest, we're on the same trajectory as that play had. What we get in this, though, that they didn't have in the Tempest is sliding doors like Star Trek.
Well, there's an interesting contrast, though, with the Tempest, right? In the Tempest, was it Prospero wanted his daughter, Miranda, I think it was named, and somebody used to have read Shakespeare, to marry one dude, right? Whereas here, he just wants him to go the fuck away. Yeah, so it's an interesting contrast.
I love this office.
He's just trying to keep her off the casting couch at this point.
Stay away
oh God.
men. You don't.
Or even color coordinated.
Going to happen.
Yeah. So
they're looking at the paper,
and they're like, "What the fuck is this?" It's like, I don't know what language this is.
Yeah, they look at that and say, "Is this hieroglyphics?" I'm like, okay, right. That's a stretch right there. That's squiggles.
No, that's
Klingon.
Yeah. Klingon hasn't been.
Is Lance here?
This office does kind of.
Hi, Nadia.
This office does kind of remind me a little bit of the vibes from was it the eccentric guy from the Black Hole? Like they're both like eccentric guys that are obsessed with things, and they've got these fancy offices.
Once he takes them down into the power thing down here, it gives me the Black Hole vibe with the scale of the ship, and it's real
again another thing that I'm sure this influenced, whether or not the creators realized it or not, just because this was everywhere.
I totally did.
So he comes out of the secret passage, which leads down to the main labs and computer of the what are they fucking called again, dude? I'm sorry.
The Krell.
Krell. I apologize. I'm about to have heat stroke, and I don't have anyone to bring me liquids right now, so I'm not doing well. So he points out that yes, this is the Krell's language. This is what I use to make the fucking robot. Let's go down and check out the lab. And he's like, based on the door design, you can see they weren't shaped like us. They had a different, the Krell look.
They were shaped like diamonds.
Were different. And they had multiple limbs. All right, we'll go.
Yeah, and they sounded like the aliens on Galaxy Quest.
Yeah. This is the Krell. He plays their music briefly. Some recording that he has of the Krell, which is kind of a strange sound. I may, Boosh, actually. I'm reaching the Howard Hughes level of confusion and delirium.
Have you reached you're buying a hotel stage yet?
You never go full Hughes.
Well, Roman, you
take a 1 minute break, get some ice cubes. Oh, that would take all the fun out of this. Because
Roman,
then
you should get one of those. Go to the
low
Navy
grade
surplus.
hallucinations. So walking down the hall again, these shots are really well framed, though. I thought this, just the look of it, you get these really, you get the feel of the depth of the set. I think the sets on this were fantastic.
Yeah,
definitely.
They were, and very. I mean, if you didn't know better, this would be a Star Trek original series set.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, and this is still during the period of time where even if they were filming in color, they had to know that at some point it would be probably broadcast it to people who only had black and whites. They still had to do that very strong lighting contrast with strong darks and lights to create that.
Oh, true.
That sort of feel of there being more depth of color, even if it was on a TV that didn't have any color whatsoever.
So he's telling him test your blaster against the Krell steel. So he fires away, nothing happens. He's like, that should be molten. He's like, yeah, fuck off, it's not. So now they go into one of the labs again. It's kind of interesting because they use. He's like, look around. You're going to see a lot of things that look familiar, which is true. We're looking around. We see dials. Showing use of power and just all these interesting things.
So
what do we have here? A lot of science fiction movies has a lot of unseen surgery. Oh, yes, that's true. I can totally agree with that.
So back in my more nerdy days at college, we this is the thing we all like among college science nerds tend to calculate actually how much power this thing produces, right? And we know what happened at the end of the episode. So the Death Star super laser, when it blew up Alderaan, was like 2.5 times 10 to the 33rd power. That's an absurdly large number. And it didn't even destroy most of it. It just mass scattered it out of orbit. So it did. This amount of power not only vaporizes the planet, but it's like basically makes a huge light bulb at the end, and it probably output more power than the sun is capable of.
So
That's terrifying.
Well, remember, this is 2,000 centuries old tech that, as far as they can tell, that they're dealing with. This is interesting because he's showing them the.
In terms of sci-fi franchises that have higher power levels of output, there's very few. Doctor Who and the Time Lords, obviously. If you ever read the Culture books by Ian Banks, and a couple other like rarer, like lesser known ones, but there's very few more raw power capable outputs than this thing. What this planet output does. You get like Marvel comics with like galaxy busting bombs, and that's Doctor Who level. Like this is an insanely amount of power. Like imagine with the Krell, they had all that power. How many of these things they made in that one day?
Yeah, because I mean, he does give us. He briefly touches on it. It's like one of these dials is this amount of power, and everyone is to a power of 10 from that.
10 times 10 times times 10.
It leaves it there for your brain to do the calculations, like you and your buddies did, Matt. But even for people who don't go down that path, it's still it plants just enough information in our brain that we understand it is a massive scale of power, especially later on in the film when we see it all.
30 minutes left, so let's we need to keep moving because I am going to die soon. Yeah. So we're looking at the schematics, he's showing them. This is basically all of the Krell tech is available on this viewer, which I thought was pretty interesting, kind of ahead of its time stuff. And because of his skill in linguistics, he was able to take a little bit and build on that. But even with that, he wouldn't be able to do it all. And we figure we learn where it comes from here. Stephen? His hairstyle is his grandpa on the Monsters. I can see it. And so this device he thinks was a training tool for the young to get how to exercise their minds. And the big it looks like a big thermometer thing over here shows what your mental level is. You're trying to beat your next level kind of thing. And so he does it to himself. He's like, and this is where I wish I had more than 2 appendages. And it raises up to a certain level in the thing. He's like, and then he makes them do it so he can look like a genius and say, you're fucking idiots, which I thought also was funny.
Yeah, because he said like the level he raises up to is basically the equivalent
oh,
of a child.
that's right. I'm sorry. I forgot. He does this. You can make images from your mind. And he makes his daughter. And they're just dumbfounded by it. It's this little version of his daughter in there, made solely from the power of his mind. Oh,
but the weird thing is the way that's set up with the glass and the things might be reflected in there is actually fairly reminiscent of how we would create a small hologram like that today with the technology we have. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they had absolutely no idea that we'd actually get to that point when making this.
Funny enough, a lot of scientists and engineers now in the last 40 years are inspired by Star Trek, this movie.
Yes.
Yep. Like, you know.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's right. Yes. Definitely definitely from this. Whew. So now he's testing it on them. He's like, oh, I'm going to show you just how stupid you are. And he's like, I'm barely moving that thing. And then they do it to the skipper, and he's like, well, you don't need to be smart, just loud.
Mobius says he has like 181 IQ, and he barely made the thing move the first time. And the doctor says he has
160
IQ. And
which is well over genius level.
Right.
Then he explains the first time I did it, I couldn't move it much further than you. But then when he made his first image appear, he got zapped and he was like out of it for 2 days or so. But it more than doubled his IQ. Something along those lines, right?
Right. But then one caveat was the captain of the ship that he was on tried to do the same
thing.
Right,
yes.
And it literally killed him. Yeah.
Knowledge is power, but power corrupts and will destroy you.
Well, think about what it will be doing. It will be like you putting your brain's like an organic computer, right? So you're sticking that in there and it's trying to give you a boost of processing power. So basically your mushy organic brain gets like overheated essentially because it can't process as fast as it's trying to make you, you know? That's another interesting side effect of the sort of attack, you know? Like there's a lot of fascinating little things with this stuff that, you know, like you always, like when you nerd out, you wonder, like, if there's time at the end, I'll talk about the power scaling thing. If I don't want to go wonky with the math stuff here. But
remember, I'm going to die soon.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to leave it out unless there's like time at the end.
So right now, the doc is pointing out, you see all these dials. I mean, when you guys showed up on the radar, it barely made a blip when we were communicating. And you can see how many dials there are. That's how much power this fucking thing can produce. He says it nicer than that, but that's what he means. So then he takes them on the big tour here, which I love this part. So they get this little pod, which seems oddly designed to fit humans.
Because it's not technically designed to fit humans.
Wow.
No, that's looking fantastic, James.
Wasn't it for Krill children?
Oh, maybe it was for the kids.
It wasn't that device to teach Krill children?
Well, the device was with the Uzits that look like Cerebro. This takes you down to the balls of the computer.
This little pod reminds me of the pod on The Incredibles.
Oh yeah,
dude.
Yes, good point. Yeah.
So they're just zipping along. He's like, geez, think the Krill rode in this 2,000 centuries ago. And now you're in the computer, and it's so when they showed up originally, they got this kind of
Babylon 5
of a 20-mile, 20 was it 20 square miles or 20 miles?
Well, if you know the reference of Babylon 5 to the Great Machine, that was influenced by this in terms of how they made it visually look.
It was 20 miles in one direction, 20 miles in the other from the center of it, and all direct up and down too. It was
It's just fucking
784
massive.
levels or something. Yeah, it's
Yes.
massive. And
So
see the walkway here? They have that.
Yeah, I
those
fucking
little
love
tiny
this.
people. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
this
these
is a-
little dots on the top were moving. So they are. So I don't know. I don't know what they did for. Obviously, there's a matte painting, but fuck, it's so
this
good.
is I'm sure this is a great combination of live action, matte painting, and miniatures. And you can get away with making a lot of matte painting look like it's animated with lighting because they would just not paint parts of the glass or paint it a little bit more transparent so the light could shine through when they turn something on behind it. But I'm sure there's multiple effects being used there, but it all works really well.
Yeah, and right now he's pointing out what we just talked about, the actual size of this computer. I love this as well. So you have the actors down here against this.
One more thing about Babylon 5, the planet, that there's that long shaft they show, but then there's also the guy that connects himself to the machine and he can project himself just like this.
So I mean, Babylon 5, Star Trek, Space 1999, Star Wars. I would still throw Alien in this mix too.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah,
definitely.
Just so many things influenced by this film. And again, I love this effect. It's obviously they're not there, but it looks really good.
The scale of it being so big is what is crazy. And also he tells him that it's totally self-sufficient, like it'll self-replicate, self-lubricate, all that kind of stuff. So it apparently it can like manufacture its own parts and whatever.
Well, at the scale of that construction, I mean, I don't know if they ever say, I don't know if they say in the movie, there could be trillions of krill on that planet. Could have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is all the I think like the what is, I forget my brain right now. Yes, firing off, and he's like, you can only look at the reflection. You can't look directly at the Gorgon. Is the quote.
Which this kind of reminds me of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea when they show him the reactor.
Yeah.
Well, it's also,
thing
you know what? Also from Star Trek, the episode with the blind lady who has the little fella in the
the alien who blinds you if you look at it.
Yeah, because he's so hideous, he'll drive you mad.
Yeah.
So back at the ship,
Stephen, not Zethras, Zathras.
They start picking up. So they've set up a parameter now of these poles, which is like a electric fence, but it'll zap you out of existence. And they get this weird what the fuck coming through. And they're like, that's got to be an anomaly, right? And they're like, well, it's gone now. No big deal. So old Cookie's like, hey, do you mind if I go for a walk? I want to look for some turnips. He's like, I don't know what you're lying about, but I better not get in trouble for it.
Right.
And here he comes, and he finds all of the booze that the robot made for him in individual bottles, nonetheless.
Imagine if they got that on board and they're flying back to Earth. Hey, we got plenty of food for the trip back. Yeah. What the hell? It's full of food.
At least we'll be preserved.
Right.
It's smooth too. He's like, I love you so much, robot. So he hangs around getting fucked up with the robot. So now the surge is back, whatever the energy surge is, because they don't know. But you see this, basic outline here, and it goes away again though. And they're like, what the fuck? And this is what we were talking about in the green room before, this interesting footstep effect.
Looks great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You actually see everything just kind of the imprints being made. Then it's going up the steps of the ship, and it's making an imprint from the weight of whatever the being is.
I don't know why everybody's so afraid of this. It's just Elliot from Pete's Dragon on a bad day.
Yeah.
So, does anyone remember the TV show cartoon Johnny Quest?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, like the 10th or so episode, it was my favorite episode, had to be inspired by some of this because Dr. Quest goes to an island where a mad scientist creates an invisible energy monster that looks a lot like this thing.
Oh really?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yup, same.
My notes are melting.
I'm melting.
Lord. All right, guys. So
What a world! What a world!
What a world.
I'll see if I can find the image and make it my background.
So now they're yelling at the doctor. He's like, "Well, we had someone killed," and the doc's like, "Well, I was right here. Just back the fuck off."
He
So
was
they
all
have a-
over
they
the
have a
engine
very-
room. Huh?
They have a very terse exchange about what just happened.
I like her outfit, and you never see her in it again.
I know the black.
Really,
It's nice. So so the skipper's away when this new thing happened, and the doc is like, that's happening again.
They're gonna bury this guy. That's all that's left of him. It's what's the
No, that's what I thought too. I thought that was funny. I'm like, oh no, because they're like, well, because it was the chief who got killed, the engineer,
right? Yeah,
and they're like, well, where's the body? And they're like, it's splattered all over the engine room, dude. And that's what I thought when they originally showed this. I'm like, oh my lord, but it's not. It's a casting of the footprint. And the doc's like, this shouldn't exist. It doesn't work. As far as nature goes, this shouldn't exist in any galaxy. Whew.
I didn't do it. I was drunk.
Oh no, it's the cook. Yeah, the cook's in trouble because he wandered off to get drunk with the robot.
As one does.
Yes, exactly.
And it's not the first time this has happened. So now they're burying the chief, poor chief. They do their little bits, and then
Yeah, he got drunk with the robot, and the robot said, "I identify as a toaster."
Oh. So they're putting everything back. Well, they got all the gear back on the ship, and now they got these giant guns that, again, shield wall. I have no idea where these came from. They must have had to assemble them out of bits and parts, or
like
reassemble them. You know,
directional weapons they have now, the radio waves that can only be
the
heard
sonic
in a
guns.
certain-
Yeah,
you know what I mean? The sonic guns. That's what it looks like.
except it has 4 little probes that actually shoot the beams from, and they look like they can move kind of independently. But the only way that would work is if they flatten out. The whole thing like folds down and flattens.
Yeah,
and you lift it up into the bottom of the saucer part.
Oops, shit! I just yeeted James. Damn it! Sorry, James. God damn me! All right, hang on. I gotta rearrange everybody again. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get rid of James.
Oh, that's okay.
Yes, away he went.
Oh, I thought you meant like yeeted him.
Sorry, I'm not operating at my best level right now. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah, much like a computer CPU, when Roman gets too hot, he stops functioning optimally.
I'm not doing well. Hello, Adam Gray. Welcome. Ooh, I like the gun effect too. I thought it looked good. The blue laser, I guess, laser type blast. And so this is where the skipper's talking to the lieutenant who he yelled at about talking to the girl. He's like, "Hey, I just want to make sure we're cool." And he's like, "Oh, don't worry." And again, adding humanity to the characters. So now they're getting a reading, and they're firing, but they're not. They're like, that's exactly where it should be, and yet there's nothing there.
The other thing about that weapon system is that bubble thing in the middle, the dome in the middle, has to be a sensor. How else can you see where to shoot it?
Yeah, you're right, because you're
they're
blind
looking
out
through
there.
they're looking through like a viewfinder thing, so that's got to be it. Like you look through there and then see what you need to shoot, which is cool.
This was a good tense scene too, because they took their time with it. You're sitting on those guns for a while they're waiting,
Right.
And then the event happens. They don't just throw it at you. I like the tension that the scene builds.
Because they get the radar in the ship up, and the guy's talking to him through the intercom.
Yes.
It's coming this way. It's at the head of the valley or
Are you
whatever.
sure we're not seeing anything?
Yeah. So they start shooting in there, and then he's like, it's still moving forward. And they keep shooting it, and then it gets to the fence, and then they're laying into it nonstop. Everybody.
That's reminding me of Aliens.
Yeah.
I was about to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where you kind of get an image of what the creature looks like as it's making contact with the fence. Otherwise, it's invisible.
Pokemon.
Yes. You know, and it's not a terrible effect. It is. I mean, it's one of the few things. And again, I know that the movie's made in 1956, so you're for the time period, it was fantastic.
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
one of the few things that stands out.
In 56, you'd have been like, oh man, it was so awesome.
I mean, I would
It
still
kind of-
pose that it
kind of
holds up
looks like a
relatively
rancor.
well.
I like it.
It does.
I'll be honest, I like it. What did I get yeeted?
And the doc runs up there to try to step in.
Oh, get
and
closer.
he
I
gets-
got him.
Oh, actually,
Yeah.
no, a different guy got killed, and then the doc runs in to try to rescue the other guy. And he gets picked up and tossed like a rag doll as well.
The Virginian got killed there too.
Oh, was that James Dury?
Yeah.
Crewman strong. So now we see the doc. Morbius
Not
is in the
so
lab and he's asleep, and all these dials are lighting up while he's sleeping because the machine is creating the image for him.
And one thing to point out is when he was talking about the lighting up, the very first one he said, when I used some of the machines and stuff to like make Robbie, the one on the lower.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There, that only lit up a little bit, and then when you guys entered the orbit, it almost lit up the full panel, and that was it. But only the one. He's never seen more power get used than just that one indicator. And now, it's like lighting up all over the place.
So I'm sorry, I said the doc. It was not the doc. It was the lieutenant who was
lieutenant,
kissing the
yeah.
girl. I apologize.
Right.
Yeah. Different guy. Very important because the doc is instrumental here later on. So,
Well,
lighting
at
up
least he
like a
got to kiss
Christmas
a girl
tree.
for one last
At
time.
least he got to kiss a girl. So he wakes up and all the lights go out. And the daughter also had a nightmare that something was attacking the ship. Whew. So now they take off back to the site. They leave crewman whatever in charge.
He's the bosun's mate or something. They
Oh,
put
it's the
him in
bosun.
charge. Yeah.
Yeah,
they put him
so
in charge.
Bosun has a lot of GP duties. It's not unlike a regular ship. Bosun has a lot of GP duties. That's your actual boat guy. He knows all about the ship. And the robot said he's not allowed to let them enter. So they're getting ready to blast him, and he disables their weapons, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, he's got like little blaster things on his head.
And he doesn't cook the weapons; he just disables them.
Right.
And then Altera shows up, and she's like, "Let them the fuck in, dude." Love for the captain. So now they're chasing down. Yeah, that's right. So they had made an agreement before they left the ship that someone needs to try to get down to the machine to use that IQ booster to see if they can figure out what's going on. So Doc runs down there immediately.
The captain said he was going to do it, but he gets
Distracted?
Distracted. I was going to say abstracted. I was like,
so the robot brings Doc back, and he's like, "Uh-oh, that ain't good." So they get a couple minutes with Doc, and he's like, "Yeah, they forgot about one thing in the mind, the id, the animalistic part of the brain, which is it's your subconscious, which is going to do what it's going to do.
Yeah,
you can't control it. You're not actively making it do anything. It's just going to be." And that's what's creating these monsters, are monsters from the mind. And so the doc Morbius isn't doing it intentionally. It's subconscious, trying to protect his daughter, trying to protect what he found when it killed all the other crew members. They wanted to leave, and he wanted to keep working at the site, discover more things. So his mind created this monster to take care of the problem. And he has a hard time accepting this.
I mean, like, wouldn't anybody though? It's like, yeah, I have to accept that I murdered everybody in my sleep.
Yeah.
No, Mando, we worry about that in the real world.
So you asked for it. I got it for you. A Naruto tie-in, which I think might have been inspired by this movie.
No one asked for this.
So in the anime, there's something called the Kurama clan, who have what's called a psychic ability. We'll keep it simple, right? And as the ability gets more and more powerful, in their head, a powerful monster manifests and emerges and can kill them and destroy everything around them.
And there's the tie-in.
Yep.
Preach,
Nicely done, and very succeint.
So
now the Doctor's coming to terms with this.
The way of the narrative.
Not have forgotten about the id. Yes, it identifies as a mind monster. It's true.
He's like, how did my ego and super ego miss this? No psychology. Okay, good. All right, cool. All right, we're all.
No, it's I'm so tired. And now it manifests while he's awake, and it's coming. He's like, something's coming, and the trees start falling again. This is a really well done effect. They drop down those shutters that they had made for protection that they thought they would never have to use, and then the thing is trying to get in. The thing. And again, the effect comes off well. I like the this. You get a lot of other motion pictures from this. They're trapped in this very confined space, and they're being attacked. And there's only a couple of them, and you can look back on a lot of different movies from that. Mm. Oh, so this is interesting, and this is where the Doctor fucks up. He tells the robot to eliminate the cause of the monster, but to do so, the robot would have to kill the Doctor, and this is where he shorts out. And that's why he shorts out. He can't kill the Doctor.
Mm-hmm. Says, "I'm afraid I can't do that, Dr. Morbius."
So now they're all rushing into the lab. This effect with the doors closing and opening. This is the blast doors from Star Wars. It's almost an identical design, except they use a rectangle instead of a triangle.
Yeah.
He's like, look, Doctor, look what you've done. Everything's lighting up. And so the Doctor basically has to surrender his mind to make this thing stop. It's coming through. It's melting the doors.
Great effect.
I love how he explains how metal melts. It's like it's red hot. Soon it will be white hot.
And then it will be molten. But the effect for the doors melting is really good.
It looks awesome.
It's really cool. As a matter of fact, I think you can see like a key grip or somebody back there like pushing out the
I thought I saw that too.
Yeah,
pushing out the stuff.
Right.
Well,
and also,
funny enough, with the high resolution scans on some of the older movies, you will notice little things like that, like which is nothing bad about it. It's kind of cool in a way, but it's just
it's such a good looking movie.
Yeah.
Mm. And also, as it's burning through this special Krell metal, all of those light panels start to light up. So it's just going to draw as much power as it needs to get through.
Just keeps pushing.
Yep.
Until all the power drops. And the Doctor is on the floor. Dead.
And then he's like, turn that little disc and push that thing in.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, now the planet's going to blow up. And I'm like, say what? That's all
Yeah,
it takes to destroy this thing is to
Well,
turn
it-
this wheel and push that.
Well,
button.
and this
and
is
also you might want to say that before you have him push the button so he knows exactly how much time
yeah.
he's got.
So
Because
He's like, you got 24 hours. It's all good. And
so this is cool though, because what does this remind you of? This is Alien. That's Mother
Yeah,
from this
definitely. Yeah.
promo.
Yeah.
Self-destruct sequence active. You are now fucked. So Doc dies. Self-destruct is activated. They all pile into the ship, and Robbie the robot is now taking over as helmsman because he's like way better than everybody else. And they watch
Like,
the image.
She had Robbie
I don't trust you,
make a
organic.
military uniform for her.
This looks like
put
the
it-
clothes that the girl was wearing in the Menagerie of Star Trek. That's what it reminded me of. And then, kaboom, the planet blows up. Oh, we're going to be just fine. All 24 of us. Actually, there's less than 24 now because some members are
Yeah, for a
Yeah.
whole year.
yep, a whole year. Yeah, that's all right. She'll be fine.
But
9
man,
months
what a
later.
movie.
They've got, they've got,
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
yeah, well,
He's like,
don't worry. The crew's got
with your name on
60 gallons of alcohol. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's a whole fucking
24
drunk
man and
fest
one
on the
woman.
ship.
What could go wrong?
So, man, I'm moving my my world around over here. Sorry, it's really hot out here. But
How hot is it, Roman?
it's so hot I could melt a planet.
Oh, by the way, if you look
Sorry.
at my background, this is the Johnny Quest monster, and even has a visual aesthetic which is similar to look
Oh yeah.
of the
Okay.
movie.
Mhm.
Ah,
Oh, dear God. Sorry, I moved slightly and I caused myself an injury. Oh, Lord.
Would you burn yourself on the furniture?
No, actually, I got a horrible leg cramp. I'm in this little tiny cockpit area when I'm doing
He's
the show.
suffering
You have no idea how
dehydration, so
small
all
it is.
his muscles are going to seize
Oh, it
up.
actually may be
Raising.
dehydration, Matt.
Give this man some electrolytes.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna drink like 4 Gatorades. when I
They're
go.
banned in
Electrolytes.
California.
So, fuck.
Yeah, Roman, you need that drink from that movie, the Mediocrity.
idiocracy.
Idiocracy.
Yeah.
It's got
Idiocracy, yeah.
electrolytes.
It's got an
Frank, I would argue that
Plant's
it's
great.
not. It may be hotter. I don't know. It's 114 where I am filming in the studio right now, not outside, but right here. So I'm shriveling up like a raisin, so to speak. It's not.
Oh my God.
yeah.
You did this whole show. You're like one of those big Swedish guys who like stay in the sauna for like
Yeah, so,
competitions.
my pores. You can actually fit a golf ball into my pores right now. Anyway, let's not talk about my pores. Let's talk about the movie. So I thought, for me, I liked the cook. I thought he was hilarious. He just is. He is the Navy. He is the Navy guy. He's looking for broads and booze. I mean, you have the lieutenant and him. You have the whole package. I love that you see early Star Trek. Well, not even just early Star Trek. Star Trek. The foundational relationships in Star Trek are in this movie, and the effects, the color palette they use, and that electronica. There's like very little about this movie that comes off as from the period it's in. I just think it looks great. I wish they made movies like this now. And they don't.
Yeah.
Just a great story. And the characters are all, you have relatability with the characters, which is nice. They, you do build, when Doc dies, it's a sad moment when Doc dies. When the lieutenant sacrifices himself trying to save the other crew member. There's just so much here, and again, it's loosely based on the foundations of the Tempest, which you also get. So they had so much good material to work with here. The writers, the screenwriters did a great job of putting that story into a sci-fi environment. I was blown away. So forgive me. James, we didn't give you time to finish this week. And I'm sorry.
I took on a very big project here, but I'm happy with how.
But I love
have your robots draw from all
James.
those booze bottles,
Yeah,
and
it's
they'll get
great.
through it.
Dude, it looks awesome so far.
As always, man, it looks great.
So I'm
So,
just working
Yeah,
in
it
a
does.
very, very limited palette here, just using 4 colors and trying to
Ooh,
get that
nice.
old feeling to it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's
So
awesome.
your work is always fantastic, and as always, James, these are for sale. Or this piece will be for sale after the show, right? If people want to contact you.
Yeah. I'm gonna finish this one up, and yeah, if you're
Yes.
interested, always feel free to
So
contact.
we'll get to see the finished
Okay.
product here in a little bit, because unfortunately,
I don't want you to die.
I may
Find
die.
something that
I apologize to the both our audience and to our team tonight. Oh my god, my chair is melting. Because it's a million degrees out here. So anyway, we'll go around the horn here, and we're gonna have to exit the show because I'm not gonna make it. Oh, Sammy, we'll say goodbye to you first because as always you're gonna go do the gooch. There had to be a better way to say that.
It's
Oh,
true.
oh my!
I can
Clip
smell
it
from here.
Somebody clip it.
Yeah, no, I love this movie. I bought this movie and I bought the poster after I got done watching it. So this is definitely one I was happy to see. It was always one on my list. Like I was always aware of it, but I'm glad I finally sat down and watched it. And I mean, yeah, I mean it's definitely a trendsetter, and you know it's where Robbie the Robot originated from, and Robbie the Robot is dope. So
Yeah.
I mean he's just so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for picking this one. But like you said, we're 2 for 3 out of the movies that you've had me watch. I liked Outworld or Outland, and I liked this, and not so much Wolfen. It's just a
Wolfen was
flannel shirt.
A little
Or
tough. A little tough to get through, admittedly.
The book is
well,
much better. I suggest
the
reading
book is
that.
much
It's
better.
good.
I do want to
I
read it.
read that. I read that in a day. Like took me about 6 hours.
So those of you who read it
Nice.
understand my frustrations with the movie now.
Well, actually,
I
even
agree,
without
yeah.
reading the book, the movie has its own frustrations. But thank God we're past that now. So, Sammy, tell the gooch hi for us, and we'll see
will.
you next week, sir. Be
Absolutely. Oh, I'm prepared.
Later,
And
Sam.
then counting down the
Now
All right,
days
my
until the
brother.
5th element.
Oh
Fuck
yeah.
my life.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Take it easy.
Sammy.
Yes, Annie.
So, Shield Wall, final thoughts, and what do you got going on, buddy?
Great movie. Yeah, like we said before, this is like the genesis of so many other movies, TV shows, and whatever. And this is built upon older stuff that had come before. But great movie, great everything. So thanks for having me on. Next Tuesday, I'll be on Jacob Ironside's show, and we'll be doing The Curse of the Black Pearl, the 2003 movie. And yep, that'll be it. So thanks for having me on, and it was great seeing everybody here.
All right, on. Thank you, Shield Wall, as always. Jacob Ironside, the meme master of the interweb. What do you have coming up? What were your final thoughts on the film, my friend?
Great movie. Inspired so much that we've seen lately, and really cool to see these old movies that inspired this newer stuff. But yep, like Wall said, we'll be going over the Curse of the Black Pearl.
Nice.
And there will be people with beards, and Beard will dress up like a pirate.
I thought Beard always dressed as a pirate.
And yeah, I will also be on Matt's show tomorrow night, and my game stream is looking a little iffy. May have to reschedule, but I will let everybody know on that. And that's all I got.
That reminds me, I'm supposed to have a band practice tomorrow at 5:00. At 5:00 today, it was 114 degrees where we'll be practicing tomorrow. I probably should let the guys know and make them let them make an informed decision. Because we're not just sitting in chairs when we're doing that. So that could actually be a 3 men die in garage in Southern California and blah, blah, blah.
But they went
fucking
out like
retarded.
real rockers.
They went out like rock stars. Matt, my good friend, what do you have coming up, brother? What are your final thoughts on the movie?
This is like a 9.8 out of 10. And a little spoiler for my show tomorrow with Jacob. I will briefly explain what this means. I think this is the only movie, or one of the few movies, that exposes the layperson to a mathematical operation called tetration. It's addition, then multiplication, and explanation, then tetration. The power scale uses tetration. I'll explain what that means tomorrow because we'll be on that. But it's interesting. But it's a way scientists can make even bigger and bigger numbers when they get absurdly large, And so that's Friday Fandemonium tomorrow. And since Jacob and I will find some filmography to go over too. What else? Posted videos for 2 little golden books that Jacob and I have read. The Nightmare Before Christmas and Stranger Things. Warning, 15-page little golden book of Stranger Things spoils all 4 seasons.
It's 4 seasons of Stranger Things. That's amazing.
Like what, the second page in, Jacob?
Yeah,
I even put a spoiler warning on the video
wow.
using my primitive video editing skills. I have reviews of AEW's All In pay-per-view up this London, and WWE's Bash in Berlin up. I'll be doing a preview for AEW's All Out pay-per-view, which is this weekend. When Joker Voice is normally here with us, we do every Wednesday night a Wednesday Night Overbook, which is a wrestling show over on Legion Talk. Next week we'll be covering some general stuff, but then booking the Women's Royal Rumble. We just did the Men's Royal Rumble this week. What else we got coming up? You'll see it posted this weekend on The Questioners, which is the offshoot from Red Cloaks that I'm in, where we just live watch Rings of Prime season episode 4. I feel the darkness falling across me already just thinking about it. And so you can see our horror reactions to the second worst of the 4 episodes, but thank God 4 of them are done, And I will be posting my reviews and whatnot of it. I haven't been able to rewatch the first episode in more than 3 to 4 minute chunks. I get so upset I have to stop and watch something violent or whatever to distract myself. I usually I can force myself to do something I have to rip apart, but this is so offensive, in any way that matters. Anyway, I will get those videos out there because I think they need to be gotten out there. But anyway, so that's kind of what I got going on. Yeah, just kind of it.
All right, right on, Matt.
And next week we're here.
And next week we're here. Well, I will give you a proper exit on what we have going on next week.
I recommend next week you get some sort of temporary air conditioning out there so you are properly prepped, because the physical plus mental negative stimulation.
It is going to be stressful. It is going to be stressful. I need to have a bottle of whiskey next to me through the show next week.
You'll need 40 bottles of bourbon.
Beard. What in the name of Satan's ghost is going on there? You've got a beard.
Don't worry about it. Eventually, it gets to a point where you have to start doing stuff like this occasionally. So I'm looking into styling it. I don't have hair to style, so I'm going to start styling the beard.
This is beard. Asian cousin beard.
I can't even object to it.
True.
What do you have going on this week, my friend?
All right,
hunting your neighbors allegedly.
Don't think it's going to be anything outside of the ordinary. So it's going to be, people can find me just in general Sunday afternoons on Stark of Iron's channel, Monday evenings after the weekend, Tuesday evenings Jacob Ironside, Thursday evenings here as long as there's a free seat. I will pop up occasionally here and there. So people can follow me on X if they want to just find out where else I'm going to be, because I very rarely know very far ahead of time. But other than that, I've been doing some video game streaming on my channel at Beard of Liberty. And if that's all too much to keep track of, Linktree/Beard of Liberty, it's all right there.
Right on. Always good to have you here, my friend. And nope,
Breathe,
it's gone.
Roman.
Whatever the thought was has left my head. Mando, when you're not setting people on fire or going to jail, what do you have going on this week, miss?
I'm not quite sure yet. Like I said, the parents that I have messaged about soccer practice and what time works best for all 9 little girls is great when they're not doing dance as well. So I think I'll still be around for the most part. Just keep an eye out. I have no idea what's going on, and I'm going to be chasing squirrels. for a profession. It's gonna be great.
That's yep. All right then.
Oh, there.
All right, and
I have one thing to say. There was a raccoon spotting earlier today outside my window. So
I am in no way surprised by this, Jacob. No one is. In fact, what we are surprised about is that the raccoons just haven't taken over yet, and one of them isn't doing your broadcast.
And one of those little bad words flipped me off.
They have hands. That's the scary thing about raccoons, my friends. They have hands. So, James, I'm going to blow you up while we do your exit, my friend. First of all, I want to say thank you for being here and for once again. I didn't give you enough time. Producing what is becoming, and that is going to be such a remarkable piece upon completion. It's already beautiful. Yep. And again, for audience members, it will be for sale. So check out everybody's data is in the description of the show. So go to James's site if you want to buy the piece. Contact him. So what else do you have coming up, my friend? Any cons? Any?
Yes.
What's
I'm going to be Tokyo Comic Con's coming up in December, so I'm going to be doing some work for that. Let's try to see. I talked to you guys before on the stream before we started in the back room, but been working on a bunch of sketch card projects with Topps and Cryptozoic. So I can't publicly show those yet. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about them or not. Like what I'm actually, I know I can't with one of the Cryptozoic projects, but some sci-fi related stuff. And I finished some Batman ones. Those I could talk about. I just can't show yet. The Batman ones came out really cool. So once those I get the AOK from the companies, I'm going to put those up to show people. I do get artist proof cards from Cryptozoic, which I can sell. I get 10 per every 35 cards, or 5 per every 35 cards I do. So I've got 10 for the Batman ones and the other ones that I can't talk about. But be on the lookout for those. I'll put up information on those on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook, and what have you. But that's basically what I'm up to right now. Just staying busy with that stuff. I can't show people what I'm working on, so it's difficult for me to do live streams or anything like that. But
again, I was gonna say, I for everybody watching on Twitter and on YouTube right now, and if you're watching later, please follow James on Instagram and Twitter. You can see all his stuff, and you know where to contact him if there's something you want to buy or commission.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you again for having me on, man. I love this movie. Again, watching it just took me back to a place with movies that I really love to be, and it's fun as always to listen to you guys talk. It's great.
A much better era of filmmaking, right?
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes, totally.
So much better, and all without language or nudity or anything salacious. It was just,
except for ankles.
Except for ankles. That's what I was saying. But so I want to thank this panel and for hanging out with and putting up with me this week, because I'm not at my best. And again, for James producing always this fantastic art. And to our chats, again, always you guys add so much to the show. You're like another you're like another cast member, as a strange conglomerate, creepy, like the end of the thing, but it's fine. But I love you all. So thank you for being here. So next week, I can't even believe I'm saying these words out loud. Next week, Thursday at 5 Pacific Standard, we are doing, as a thank you to our panel and to our the subs on the channel for getting us over the 500 hump, The Fifth Element. We have finally reached this nexus moments of the Empire channel.
I may or may not cosplay something for that stream.
God damn it, Beard.
Yes.
I myself will not be cosplaying. I hate this film so much. In every way you can hate a film, I hate The Fifth Element.
By the way, wow, Roman identifies as a meat popsicle. Just saying.
Yes.
I
not right now.
And so
he's
that's going to be a special show. Oh, James, I wanted to say, if you want to hop on, we are doing we're going to have special guests on next week. And I know we're in a bit of a time difference, but if you want to hop on, you're certainly welcome to do so. You can hit me up after the show. So we have a couple other guests lined up to throw into the mix of The Fifth Element. So that is going to be a big special show next week. Jacob, fucking, you're fired. It's bound.
I'll be back. I'll be rehired next week, folks.
Well, obviously, goes without saying. So we're going to have a good time with the show next week. We're going to have some guests. They're going to make fun of me, and we are going to talk about everything about The Fifth Element, which I still need to do my screenshots for, and that is going to be a bit.
Just use that picture right there. That's all you need.
That pretty much sums it up, folks. So if you're watching on Twitter, by the way, if you wouldn't mind, I feel like I'm giving you homework. Can you hop over onto YouTube, give us a like and a follow if you haven't for the show, because that does help us grow as a channel. So that's it for this week. Please join us next week. I don't actually have anything for after The Fifth Element because I don't know if I'm going to survive that show. So we'll see what happens after next week. And again, thank you all for being here. I love this movie so much. Despite my hatred of the movie, I am looking forward to next week. I think it's going to be a blast. So thank you all for showing up this week. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, be kind.
Bye.